Hello everyone, how are you? What's up? Hope all of you are doing well. So welcome back to the class. Today we are solving NMAT questions, right? हमारे 3 सेशन हो चुके हैं NMAT 4 पे हम हैं. So let's get started with the very first question. Students, in today's class, before we start, we're doing all kind of questions which you see in verbal section, that is reasoning, syllogisms, uh, grammar questions, vocabulary, reading comprehension, everything the way it is. So it's more like mixed set. ठीक है. So चलिए शुरू करते हैं. स्टेटमेंट्स. फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन आपको दिख ही रहा है कि ये एक सिलॉजिज्म का क्वेश्चन है, राइट? सो लेट्स रीड. सम कैट्स आर रैट्स, ऑल बैट्स आर टेबल्स, ऑल रैट्स आर बैट्स. ठीक है, चलो इसको बना लेते हैं साथ में मिलके, थोड़ा सा क्लीन एंड क्लियर डायग्राम. Some cats are rat. How do I make it? Make this. Some cats are rats. Cats are rats. All bats are tables. Okay, and all rats are bats. So पहले तो इसको ऐसे बनाते हैं. All rats are bats. And all bats are tables. So, right, are table. ठीक है, वीडियो को नीचे कर लेती हूँ. Let's see what we can infer here. Some cats are bats. Is it possible? Has to be. True. All bats are rats. क्या सारे bats rats हैं? Not necessarily. Some bats could be rats. So no. All tables are cats. All tables, no. Some tables can be cats. Not all tables are cats. All bats are cats. All bats are cats. Again, some bats can be cats. So only one follows. Do we have an option? Nothing. So none of these will be the correct answer. ठीक है, ऐसे आपको choose करना है. So it's not like actual none of these. First conclusion definitely follows, but then based on the given options, we'll be choosing fourth. Question number 2, everyone. Select the grammatically correct sentence from the following statements. 4 sentences are mentioned in quite a similar fashion. And what's the difference? That's what we have to see. So although he failed in mathematics, we cannot choose although and but in the same sentence. So because of that, we'll eliminate option A and option C. Fine, let's see option B and D. Although he had failed in mathematics, why that? Like, what's the need? So option B is the correct answer. Okay, now a passage. Let's read it together. Those who have not read the passage, I'll say just pause the video for a minute, go through the passage, start, and then start with the questions. Those who have read can listen to me for the summary. So an endangered language is one that is likely to become extinct. So what is endangered language? Many languages are falling out of use and being replaced by widely used in that region. Right now, unless current trends are reversed, these endangered languages will be extinct. Fine. So here we are talking about how endangered languages can be extinct after a while. Many other languages are no longer being learned by new generation of children or by new adult speakers, and that could also be a reason why they will be extinct. All right. Right. The second point, the reasons why these endangered languages will become extinct. Fine. Now, which all languages are actually dead or extinct? Like ancient Greek, Latin languages are considered dead because they're no longer spoken in the form in which we find them in ancient writings, but they weren't abruptly replaced by, right, these. All right. What I'll recommend students, we have also read the passage because again, like all kind of students are watching this session, those who have just started or those who are really good at reading comprehension. However, when you look at NMAT RC, right, आपको ज़्यादातर questions direct आते हैं, and because most of the questions are direct, what I'll recommend is maybe spend like, of course, 15 to 30 seconds max on reading the passage. But since most of the questions are direct, you can start with the questions also, right? So these languages will become extinct. In the above sentences, these refer to what? So these means what will become extinct, right? These endangered. So this is quite an direct question, है ना? क्या एक्सटिंक्ट होगा? endangered language एक्सटिंक्ट होगी. Spanish language evolved out of. So Spanish is written where? यहाँ पे. Read these lines carefully. Right. Latin slowly evolved into modern Italian, Spanish, French, Romanian, and other languages. So it comes from option D. What is an endangered language? अभी तो हमने पढ़ा फर्स्ट लाइन में कि it's likely to become extinct. So that is spoken by many people. No, no, no. That's spoken by very few people. A language that is most likely to die in the near future, yes. The language that is not spoken by, that is extinct, right? Not endangered. That's likely to expand in the future? No. If it is going to expand, why are we calling it endangered in the first place? Who can change the decision of a country to make use of provisions available to developing countries? Okay, so another passage. I'll give you a minute to pause, go through the passage, and once you're done, we'll start solving these questions together. Students, if you face problem of vocabulary, let's say, or retention, generally there are two main problems when we read the passage. When we read it, like there are certain words which we find difficult, and that's why we are unable to understand the passage. Or uh, it could be like we are reading, but we are forgetting as soon as we are progressing, right? While I like read the last paragraph, I've forgotten what was there in the first two paragraphs. So you need to work on these two things, and if these things are sorted to above average level, I feel there should not be much problem while reading comprehension. Of course, you need practice, but you'll improve really, really fast. So work on your vocabulary, work on your retention. Be it in NMAT, SNAP, CAT, actually any exams at. Okay. So let's start with the questions. Who can change the decision of a country to make use of provisions available to developing country? Who can change that decision? Right? Who can change or challenge the decision? Other members can challenge the decision of a member to make use of provisions available to developing countries, isn't it? They announce themselves whether they are developed or developing, and then other members can challenge that. All right. और देख लो फिर क्या होगा? Any other thing? Okay, now let's get started with the question. So any neighboring country, any member country of the WTO, so not neighboring country. If they're part of the WTO, those countries, members in those countries can challenge. So this could be the case. The World Trade WTO, not the preference giving country, ultimately decides. Like the list of developing countries. They don't change the decision or anything, right? They ultimately decide who can be in the list or who cannot be then in the list. So for now, this, who decides whether one country is developing or developed? कौन डिसाइड करता है कि कोई कंट्री, ultimate decision is by preference giving country. So option B, right? मेंबर कंट्रीज इज अनाउंस, मैंने अनाउंस किया है मैं तो डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज से हूँ, बट डिसीजन कौन लेगा? हु डिसाइड्स? अल्टीमेटली प्रेफरेंस गिविंग कंट्री. सो कंफ्यूज नहीं होना है कि डेवलप्ड एंड डेवलपिंग इज रिटन हियर, सो दिस हियर वी शुड रीड. नो, decision is ultimately in the hands of preference giving country. I'll just move this here. Why would a country likes to announce itself as a developing country? भाई developed country बोलो, developing खुद से क्यों बोलना? Because when a country decides itself as a developing country, it brings some provisions in some WTO agreements which provide developing country with longer transaction periods before they are required to fully implement the agreement. Also, they receive technical assistance, so they receive some benefits, and that's why they announce itself as developing country. But it doesn't automatically mean that they will get those kind of preference schemes and everything. Ultimately, that list will be decided by preference giving country. Fine. So why do they decide that? Because they get some relaxation in the time? Yes. They get some longer transaction in fully implementing it? Definitely. So that it needs implement WTO. Of course, it has to, but it gets time. कि okay, आराम से करो. So that it become member of it's already member of WTO. So that it can become the preference. No, it cannot become the preference giving country, but it can be in the list of developing countries so that it gets all these technical assistance, etc., right? And more time to implement the agreements. Parenting here is compared to, okay, next passage, everyone. I'll give you a minute to read this. And Where should I keep myself? I think here. Hmm. When a child is born, her first connection to the world is established through her mother, or in a broader sense, her parents. An infant sees the world through her parents' eyes. Mm, She tries to imbibe everything she recognizes in her parents. Thus, a parent child relationship lays the foundation of the building of a little young person, right? Like that. So, here we are talking about parenting, how it is similar to growing a plant into a big fruitful tree. And then, parenting, of course, differs from culture to culture. All the basics of parenting, like, is definitely similar. For example, basics like, some set of values like honesty, integrity that everyone teaches. But yeah, but the different facets of parenting or style of parenting can definitely change from Indian style or Western style, all those things. Okay, parenting here is compared to what? Of nourishing a plant, right? You can see this quite direct. Um, which of the following is a major differentiator on some of the major facets of parenting? Batao. What are the major facets of parenting? Right? Major differentiator, I mean. देखो क्या लिखा? Although culture is the key ingredient, the economic situation, standard of living also have an impact of parenting. While there are common set of values in different cultures like honesty, the value system stands divided. So what's the differentiator? The value system. Love, honesty, integrity, वो तो सब parents सिखाते हैं. Nobody will say be dishonest. है ना? Like so, all these three things will be similar. Differentiator will be in the value system. Uh, Parenting is basically, let's see, culture independent. Culture से कोई फर्क नहीं, depends on the culture, right? Culture is the key ingredient and it depends on different culture subject. अलग अलग culture में अलग अलग तरह के value system. Now you must be wondering कि what kind of value system can be different. हमको यहाँ अच्छी values कहीं बुरी values सिखाते नहीं, not like that. For example, in some cultures the focus is more on yourself. Like, for example, if we just in a way like differentiate between Indian culture or Western culture parenting, like in Indian culture in general, like if we see people focuses on that you have to believe in helping others because we all of us have extended family as in like a lot of relatives, so we also think of others before taking certain steps, whereas like people are not that connected in Western culture, some of the Western cultures, I would say not all, so they have to think of themselves first before others, right? Of course everyone's thinking is different, but the culture is that's how Eastern Western culture, the value system divided on these things also. So this is just an example. Parenting is basically culture independent. No, it depends on culture, right? So that's what they're saying in these few lines. Next question, I'll just stop the video so that we can read this further. Okay, the interesting passage, everyone. This is on Steve Jobs. You can pause the video, go through the passage. Once done, resume, and then we'll start with the questions. Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know. I in this line is what? So remembering that you're going to die is the best way I know. Yep. I, Steve Jobs, correct? I repeat everyone, although I've said this in many of my previous videos or sessions, that if you like find any doubt or you don't understand any particular explanation or question or answer, right, please write that in the chat again so that in reply I can repeat the explanation or make it more clear for you. So just लिखो chat में अगर आपको कुछ समझ नहीं आता है, आपने इसको बाद में देखा है, recording में देखा है, तो पूछो. In the passage, which one of the following is not true, right? Is not true. So look for death. Death is the destination. Yes, this is definitely mentioned that death is the destination. See, यहाँ पे लिखा है. Death is the single best invention. This is also mentioned. And no one escapes death. Even so, single best invention is here, and no one escapes death is also mentioned, right? So do not want to die. That is how, right? So yeah. Yep. So look for death, like nowhere Steve Jobs is saying look for death. All he's saying is it is a destination, nowhere escapes it, and single best invention of life. So option A is the correct answer. Steve Jobs believed in. What do you think? Normatism is normalism, like be normal, average, more like normal. So we don't know if he believed in normatism or not. Altruism is being helpful and charitable, could be, but we cannot infer that from this paragraph at least. Helpful, charitable, being kind. Materialistic, again, we don't know from this paragraph. Perfectionism, yes, because what's mentioned here is that he was such a perfectionist that there was a period when he had no furniture in his house at all because he could not decide what to buy. Which of the following statements is false? Steve Jobs had no furniture at his house because he wanted to buy the perfect furniture. Yes, he had no money, not really. He was a perfectionist. Actually, yes, we'll keep this as well. He could not decide what to buy. Uh, Sorry, which of the following is false, right? So he could not decide what to buy. Yes, that's also true. And the answer is he had no money. Yeah, so we got the answer. All right. The passage is written in which person? Third person, first person, second person, multiple person narrative. So first few lines, author is telling us, like, Steve Jobs was like this, like that. He was vegan, he was Zen Buddhist, he could not, this man was not afraid to be himself. That means author is talking about Steve Jobs, not Steve Jobs talking about himself, like as a first person. So first person is not possible. अब अब इसको क्या बोलेंगे, like second person or third, not multiple person, only author is telling, so ऐसे भी निकाल दो ना. What is second person or third person, students? So yes. So author is telling us about Steve Jobs. So it is going to be third person narrative. Just in case if you're confused, first person will be, if, for example, of course at the end he's saying I, like Steve Jobs is talking, I believe that and everything, but majority of the passage is in third person. What is first? If I say I like chocolates. Second person will be if I include you also. And if I say you like chocolates, I'm talking to you. Third person, if I say he likes chocolates. Its author is not talking about us, like readers. He's not talking about himself. He's talking to us about Steve Jobs. This should be third person. The passage tells us some not very well-known facts. Maybe Steve Jobs' business management skills. No, nothing about his business management skills are mentioned. About his personality rather. His life story, no, not really. Again, his life story, his childhood, or how he started, Apple, like nothing like that. Very well known facts. So, are these not very well known facts or very well known facts? What do you think? So, first line itself says he was such an enigma, means mystery. So, of course, those who are fans of Steve Jobs might know all of this, but the way here author is presenting all the facts, and I would like to share a few little known facts. That means these are, according to author, are not very well-known facts. Correct? Okay. Now, next question is a parajumble. So I'm back. Chaliye. What do you think is the correct sequence here? So did he realize that he had been helped by a man he never respected? कि उसको पता चल रहा है कि उसको उस इंसान ने हेल्प की जिसने उसकी जिसने इसने इसकी इज्जत नहीं की, रिस्पेक्ट नहीं की. सो पी से स्टार्ट होगा. He had been helped. So PRQ. Where is PRQ? Option 1. We got our answer. Let's move to next question. Okay. Let's see. क्या है answer here? So a good teacher is one who sees to it that a student does not waste in reinventing the wheel. So, what is reinventing the wheel, everyone? Like if I say uh, for upcoming NMAT, you just don't have to do critical reasoning or reasoning question because we have already done that in last month. That means like I'm asking you, like, not to reinvent the wheel or waste time in, like, waste timing something which you have already done, not imagining things which you have already done. So option D will be the correct answer. Okay. Next question. From the given below choices, what is the correct substitute for the underlined word? Democracy is of the people, by the people, and for the people. However, a government run by a few is dangerous for a republic like India. So, a government run by a few, like very few people, are governing the entire country. That is oligarchy, right? Oligarchy means few or small group. Aristocracy is government of rich people, right? Rich class. Rich class. Monarchy, autocracy means one person, more like king kind of rule. Abridge. Correct answer, all of you. Yes. What is the meaning of a bridge? Jaldi batao chat box mein. It shorten something. It to shorten, not to bridge. Bridge sounds like to fill the gap or something, but actually means let's abridge this discussion or this meeting because I have more important work or things to do. So let's shorten it. Let's cut it short. The instructor asked the student to work dash the given sum means work on the given sum or work out on the given, not work away, and it over, not work, hand it away to him. So now work on the given sum to work on it, and then because work out is more like exercise and work on, right? Although you can work on a problem as well, let's work on this, but work out a problem also, but more like work on it will be a good answer or better answer. The following sentence is underlined and marked as section A, B, C, D. Show which section contains an error. देखो. Yes, so as John had taken only a few sips of tea, there was still a little tea, a little. See, everyone, when I say a little tea is left, that means thodi si, some. Actually, it means some tea. And when I say little tea is left, or little something, so that means no, no tea is left. We are trying to say some tea is left. So we have to say a little. Yeah. So option C is wrong. That is D. Choose a word that is opposite in meaning to the word pacify. So pacify means to calm someone down. कोई गुस्से में है. So you have to pacify that person then. That means opposite will be to provoke, to aggravate. Right? कोई बोले अरे आपने मुझे इस टाइम पे क्यों डिस्टर्ब किया, राइट? रात के 12 बज रहे, तो आप बोले ओ सॉरी, आई शुड हैव कॉल्ड यू एट 1 AM. तो मतलब आप उसको एग्रावेट कर रहे हो, है ना? आप बोले ओ सॉरी, गलती हो गई, 1 बजे करना चाहिए था, राइट? समथिंग लाइक दैट. सो यू हैव एग्रावेटेड द पर्सन. टू लीव समवन इन द लर्च, राइट? सो टू लीव समवन इन बिटवीन, उसको अपने हाल पे छोड़ देना, यू आर जस्ट अबैंडनिंग सम पर्सन, नॉट टू रिस्पेक्ट और टू मेक समवन कंफर्टेबल. To leave someone to his or her fate, किसी को अपने हाल पे छोड़ देना and not helping. A prima facie cases, students, similar kind of word or question has come when we were doing vocabulary. So those who are following all the classes should know the meaning of this as it seems at first sight, है ना? ठीक है. Next question, everyone. Again, we are back to reading comprehension. Please read this passage by pausing this video for a minute and then let's resume for the questions. In order to receive the desert's message, the beholder needs to be what? See, let's read the last line. Sometimes it includes contemplation. What is contemplation? If somebody asks me, ma'am, what are you going to do tomorrow? Tomorrow is in what topics are you going to cover tomorrow? If I say, I don't know, I'm still contemplating on that, means I'm still thinking. And of all the answers to the question, what is desert good for? Contemplation is perhaps. That means when you're in the desert, it makes you think, it improves your thought process, or it just makes you understand a lot of things about yourself. So thinking, reflection, thought process. So that means reflective in nature. If I say I'm contemplating, I'm reflecting on something, means I'm thinking. Right? So ये सब words का मतलब thinking है. It doesn't make you courageous or a good listener or conservative. As such, desert is conservative, but it makes you a thinker. It makes you think. ठीक है. Next question, everyone. The phrase "it brings man up against his limitations" indicates that. So it brings man against his limitation. This line, what does that mean? Man feels hopeless about his limitations. Can we say that? Man is made aware of his limitations. बताओ. Hopeless नहीं. This is something we cannot choose. Man is made aware of his limitations. कि उसको पता चलती हैं. Could be. Man is persuaded to overcome. Not really. Man is compelled to fight against it. So if I bring you against this person, against this situation, मतलब मैंने आपके सामने रख दिया है. So मैंने सिर्फ आपको aware नहीं करा है. You are now basically you have to fight with it, isn't it? So if I bring you against your limitation, like you are standing against something, so you are basically you should fight, right? Yes. Okay, the desert is unique among landscapes in that it is comparatively, relatively. Yes, batao, देखो options. Right. For one thing, the desert is conservative. So conservative as in conventional. The writer calls the desert conservative rather than radical. Radical as in extreme. So author calls it conservative because it provides an environment that yeah. So, which it encourages is the heroism of endurance, not that of conquest. So, it doesn't make one gloomy or sad or to explore it more like it helps you test the endurance. If one responds with insight to the mood of the desert, it evokes. So, if we see the mood of the desert, what kind of mood would you get from the desert? Yes, see. So the implication, the mood of the desert is something different again, right? It's radical, not, it's conservative, not radical. It provides all than to invite conquest. Like you don't want to conquer it, right? So not see, right? First of all, the heroism which it encourages, the heroism of endurance, right? It brings you against your limitations. It makes you think all these things. So intense conflict, not real. Resourceful, no. Deep thoughtfulness, for sure. It makes you think. Next question, everyone. Which of the following most logically completes the argument? Argument as in uh, no, इसका question दूसरा है. We have to move to next question. Yes, so options are same. ये passage के questions हो गए हैं. Yeah, you have to read this paragraph for those questions. The last members of a now extinct species of a European wild deer called the giant deer lived in Ireland about 16,000 years ago. Prehistoric cave paintings in France depict this animal as having a large hump on its back. Fossils of this animal, however, do not show any hump. Nevertheless, there is no reason to conclude that cave paintings are therefore inaccurate in this regard since. मतलब अगर हम इस एनिमल के पेंटिंग्स देखें तो उसमें आपको एक उसके बैक पे हम दिखेगा. बट अगर हम फॉसिल उसका स्केलेटन देखते हैं तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. तो हम लोग पेंटिंग्स भी पर सही थे, ऐसा कुछ गलत नहीं बता रहे थे अगर एक्चुअल में नहीं दिख रहा है. सो व्हाट कुड बी द रीजन एवरीवन? आई विल गिव यू अ मिनट टू गो थ्रू द ऑप्शंस. या So we are saying that animal humps are composed of fatty tissue which does not fossilize. देखो fossil में आपको क्या मिलता है? Mainly skeleton, bones, बाकी जो मसल होगा, बाकी चीजें की वो थोड़ा ना मिलेगा. तो मे बी वी आर सेइंग लार्ज हम डज नॉट हैव एनी बोन्स, राइट? इट्स जस्ट फैटी टिश्यू और मसल्स, एनीथिंग एल्स एक्सेप्ट बोन्स, एंड दैट्स व्हाई इट मेल्ट्स अवे एंड इट डज नॉट फॉसिलाइज. दैट्स व्हाई हमें फॉसिल में वो चीज नहीं दिखी जो एक्चुअल में एनिमल में होगी. करेक्ट. ठीक है. ऑप्शन सी. लेट्स मूव टू नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. ओके, ग्रामर क्वेश्चन एवरीवन. इसको सॉल्व करते हैं. The vote suggests that the crowd likes Donna's pies more than Theresa. This is comparison happening here, first of all. We always compare to equal things, a person with person, action with action, object with object. So in this case, crowd likes Donna's pies more than Theresa's pies, isn't it? Pies with pies is what we need to compare. Let's see. So the crowd likes, right? Likes, not like, first of all. So option B, C will go, A and D. Now, pies with pies, not with, we can't compare pies with Theresa. Right? So option D. Okay, next question clearly looks like syllogism. Let's solve it. Most CPUs are keyboards. When I say most, it does not mean all, like most of them, right? So most CPUs are keyboards, right? CPU keyboards. No keyboard is a mouse and all mouse are CPUs. So I'll make mouse here. Fine. Now based on this, what can we get? Some keyboards are CPUs, could be. All CPUs are mouse, not at all. No mouse is a keyboard, that's true. Some mouse are keyboard. Some mouse are keyboard, not possible. So 1 and 3, that is option 3. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending the session. Stay tuned for more such sessions, not just for SNAP, but also for NMAT, CAT, ZAT, all the upcoming exams. I'll be bringing the entire course for CAT 2024 students, especially like once these exams are over. अभी दिसंबर में हम ये वीडियो पोस्ट कर रहे हैं जब स्नैप एंड मैट को एक हफ्ता बाकी है, इसलिए CAT 24 के थोड़े कम सेशंस अभी अपलोड हो रहे हैं, बट ये भी स्टार्ट होगा फ्रॉम द नेक्स्ट वीक क्वाइट रेगुलरली. Yeah, so thank you so much everyone. Have a nice day. See you soon with the next session. Bye bye.